Hi, I'm Dr. Marilyn Kindig, an assistant professor in OBGYN at Boonshoff School of Medicine, part of Wright State University in Dayton, Ohio. I want to talk to you about designing education for long-term learning. Today, I will be relating this presentation to medical student and resident education. The objectives for this presentation are as follows. Explain what does not work for long-term learning, summarize the positive research for long-term learning, and develop educational plans for long-term learning. First, let's look at the problems in long-term learning. Generally, people do not know how to study for retaining information. A student might say, "I have always done it this way. It works for me," and change is scary. Intuition tells us that dedicated, single-minded studying is the best, and our memory improves, but we fail to see that this learning style improves short-term memories that will quickly fade. A learner can hold 5 to 7 pieces of information in their short-term memory, but limitless in the long-term memory. The student who thinks that cramming for an exam is the way to learn is incorrect. The information will quickly be gone after 24 to 48 hours and not helpful on the course final exam or in medicine, the state board examination. Rereading information appears to be helpful and easier, but has not been shown to help with recall over the long term. Accredited specialists earn education credits to keep their current skills, and this education is usually on a weekend with PowerPoint lectures without spacing, interleaving, or retrieval practice. Participants are fortunate to retain any of this information in the format. Now let me share some research in long-term memory learning. A large amount of effort to learn information has been found to improve retention long-term. Repeated retrieval makes memories more resilient and can be reclaimed easier over time. Repeated retrieval makes memories and the information becomes second nature, especially when using the information in various ways. Testing yourself while studying, imagining what questions the instructor could ask, and quizzing yourself over the information helps retain it. Practice studying should be spaced out over time to get the maximum memory of information. This could be quizzing, doing flashcards, doing additional test questions from online question banks. After studying for a 30 to 45-minute time, take a 5 to 10-minute break. Spaced practice is better to help memory and recall, but massed practice or cramming feels more productive. However, it is not productive. The massive gains that are noted by cramming are quickly forgotten. Andrew Sobel teaches a class in international political economics at Washington University. He decided not to test during the semester, and by the end of the class, all the students were upset and did poorly on the examination. He then decided to put 4 quizzes throughout the semester, and by the end, the retention of information had improved over 30%. The next year, he gave a quiz at every class period. The students that missed the class were upset, but the rules were maintained. If you were in class, you could take this low-stakes quiz. The students loved his class and improved their grades even more. William Chamberlain teaches middle school at Columbia Middle School and had similar improvements from quizzing students in a middle school science classroom. The performance demonstrated significant improvement far above no quizzing or directed review of class contents. For example, throwing bean bags from 2, 3, and 4 feet improves the ability to throw the bag just 3 feet. In comparison, if a student only throws 3 feet in practice, they will have more difficulty in an official game. Variation and interleaved practice are important in application. Students can be given information to read prior to a class session and then asked to explain the concept. This testing group is used to make learning harder. When the student is explaining it to someone else, long-term memory and practicing occurs. Boonshoff School of Medicine does this with peer instruction. After asking questions without lecture, students have low-stakes quizzing, then are asked to teach other students what they know. working together for a solution to the two-step test question. These two-step questions in the second year of medical school use basic science and clinical application to get the answer. Boonshoff School of Medicine uses individual and group testing in clerkships in the third year of medical education. The low-stakes test questions are done by individuals for a score, then as a team for a score. This team approach improves group dynamics, makes students explain to other students to help challenge the student, and put the information into long-term learning, improving team dynamics for problem solving in the future. A teacher's job is to set the learning assignments to get students to do tasks to improve their learning. We know that when learning is easy, it is quickly forgotten. Therefore, when you wrestle with information, it integrates into the brain, making connections and improves intellectual abilities. Wrestling with information helps us learn better. At Boonshoff School of Medicine, students are given case studies in first-year medical school. Many students are having difficulties pronouncing the case information, let alone understanding what is being asked of them. However, with a group of 6 students from different educational backgrounds, they can come together and, without much help from the preceptor, evaluate the case, make connections, and find the answer to the case presented. The power of looking back on how an experience went and what we can do to improve helped Captain Sullenberger magnificently channel the U.S. Airways Flight 1549 on the Hudson River. Captain Sullenberger used the technique of reflection by, what did I do correctly? What happened? And how can I improve next time? In medicine, we do the same technique. Verbally after a surgical procedure to discuss and train resident surgeons. The same technique is used in morning and evening report. What is the diagnosis? What can we do to improve care? And why are we doing these things? Most of the time, these ideas are not written down, but verbally communicated. How much would our care and education improve if we wrote down our thoughts at the end of a day in a journal to think about the perspectives of what happened and analyze the day for improvement in the future? Learning tips for students are simple and defined. By taking charge of your education and being disciplined, growth mindset is the idea that if students are told they are able to achieve and are capable, they achieve their goals. If students are not supported and told they are incapable, they don't achieve. Michael Young started medical school with a bachelor's in psychology without taking pre-med classes as his peers. After the first test, he knew he had to do something different. I was big into reading, and that's all I knew how to do to study. Michael became mindful of what he was reading, quizzing himself, deciding what's important, making himself answer questions and paraphrase the information, slowing down to find the meaning in what he was reading, finding the right spacing in between sessions of studying, paraphrasing the information, and writing down bolded terms. Michael quickly went to the top of the class and stayed there until graduation. Finally, wrapping up, knowledge is hard effort and stress to learn cultivates improved intellectual abilities. Interleaved learning solidifies information in the brain. Quizzing frequently by the teacher or the student is an excellent way to remember important items for long-term memory. Retrieval, spaced learning, interleaving, reflection, and variation are all excellent ways to improve long-term memory. Thank you.